Formula One heads toward the Belgian Grand Prix amid significant developments across multiple fronts. Dutch publications continue to assert that Max Verstappen remains undecided about his future beyond this season, suggesting he might depart Red Bull Racing in the upcoming weeks should the team's competitive form fail to recover. Simultaneously, German sources strongly indicate that George Russell's contract renewal with Mercedes has reached advanced stages, with an official announcement expected imminently. Russell's recent media appearances during press conferences appear to support these claims about his contract situation. Additionally, the Formula One governing body faces potential leadership changes as Tim Mayer, challenging current FIA President Ben Sulayem, finally unveiled his campaign platform after earlier delays. His manifesto emphasizes restoring democratic principles within the FIA, highlighting the concerning precedent where elected oversight officials can be dismissed by the very executives they supervise. Technical preparations for Spa-Francorchamps showcase varied rear-wing setups across teams. Ferrari particularly focuses on experimental approaches driven by their newly implemented rear suspension system currently being refined. The SF25's updated rear suspension components aim to address the car's tendency toward rear-end instability under braking conditions, which previously compromised corner entry performance and contributed to understeer characteristics that created cascading handling issues. Ferrari's engineering objective involves lowering the rear ride height without excessively stiffening suspension components, preserving mechanical grip levels. Charles Leclerc acknowledged limited immediate feedback regarding behavioral changes during testing, though he deliberately avoided detailed technical commentary. Assessment proved challenging since drivers lacked comparative data from the previous suspension configuration on the same circuit, while test sessions utilized demonstration tires rather than racing compounds. Nevertheless, telemetry analysis reportedly confirmed performance benefits from the new rear suspension design. Leclerc has adopted a more cautious communication approach, following previous incidents where candid remarks about team issues sparked media speculation regarding power steering difficulties. He now maintains that making broad statements about suspension functionality would be imprudent. Lewis Hamilton also addressed the testing session, clarifying it represented merely a filming day with no noticeable differences in car behavior. Hamilton offered intriguing observations about Ferrari's historical performance, noting that despite employing exceptional talents including Fernando Alonso, Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel over 2 decades, only Raikkonen secured a championship with the team in 2007. Hamilton expressed determination to avoid similar outcomes, stating his intention to challenge established processes since identical approaches yield identical results. He emphasized the urgency of his mission given limited remaining career time. Recent weeks saw Hamilton frequently visiting Ferrari's facilities for strategic discussions with various personnel regarding engine development and suspension systems for the upcoming season. He also provided diplomatic commentary on Christian Horner's departure from Red Bull, recognizing Horner's achievements and the expertise required to manage such complex organizations effectively. Earlier reports suggested Toto Wolff indicated Mercedes would prioritize retaining George Russell alongside Kimi Antonelli when questioned about Verstappen speculation. Russell faced extensive questioning upon arriving at the circuit, emphatically stating no contract currently exists on the table and expressing skepticism about completing negotiations within 2 weeks given the demanding schedule including Spa-Hungary and the summer break. Russell projected confidence regarding his position, noting minimal urgency from his perspective since team leadership would ultimately determine their preferred direction, leaving him positioned to respond accordingly. He emphasized focusing on performance while trusting that other matters would resolve naturally, believing his position remains secure based on merit. Russell asserted that Mercedes requires optimal driver talent and considered himself among the top performers currently. Automotor on Sport, a respected German publication, reported Russell approaching contract extension with Mercedes following breakthrough negotiations between the Silverstone and Spa events. Despite ongoing speculation about Verstappen's potential Red Bull departure, Russell's Mercedes retention appears increasingly probable, potentially eliminating possibilities for Verstappen's team change. The publication suggests Verstappen will likely remain with Red Bull, not necessarily by preference, but due to Mercedes potentially closing that opportunity. This represents a shift from earlier speculation about possible moves, reasoning that Russell's exceptional seasonal performance may not justify the complications associated with pursuing Verstappen, including buyout clauses and managing Jos Verstappen's involvement. Concerning Red Bull's 2026 power unit program, initial concerns about development progress have been addressed according to well-informed sources. Red Bull Powertrains has apparently met established performance benchmarks, though reliability questions persist regarding energy recovery and deployment systems. The Ford collaboration progresses satisfactorily, albeit cautiously regarding engine inventory due to reliability considerations. While potentially inferior to Mercedes units and initially unreliable, the power unit could provide Verstappen with competitive machinery. Verstappen's press conference featured extensive questioning about his future plans. Regarding potential Mercedes opportunities, he responded characteristically, "There's also a possibility I won't wake up tomorrow. Life remains unpredictable." He maintained that his current contract signing reflected intentions to conclude his career with Red Bull, though acknowledged uncertainty about that likelihood. Questions about new team leadership under Laurent Mekies, who transitioned from Racing Bulls, revealed that Mekies has already implemented changes including simulator work modifications, suggesting he arrived with immediate improvement concepts rather than adopting an observational approach initially. Regarding Horner's departure, Verstappen stated it wouldn't influence his decision to remain or leave Red Bull. He denied attempting to engineer Horner's dismissal, acknowledging that the previous 18 months hadn't progressed as hoped. Management chose a different directional approach requiring universal acceptance and forward focus. Speculation about a potential Sardinia meeting with Toto Wolff received notably evasive responses from both parties. Wolff suggested they coincidentally vacationed in the same location, while Verstappen claimed he was ocean swimming and such matters didn't interest him. Significantly, neither party explicitly denied meeting, maintaining speculation despite recent reports suggesting the Mercedes move remains unlikely. Weekend weather forecasts indicate potential rain during Friday practice and sprint qualifying sessions in the afternoon. Saturday should remain dry, but Sunday's race increasingly appears likely to feature wet conditions, with thunderstorms potentially arriving around 5:00 p.m., promising spectacular racing if predictions prove accurate. Current assessments suggest Verstappen's departure probability has decreased to approximately 20 to 25% from previously estimated 40%, though much depends on contract performance clauses and Red Bull's demonstrated development progress in convincing him to remain. George Russell finds himself central to attention as Verstappen's Mercedes connections threaten his seat security. The British driver maintains confidence that he and Mercedes can reach agreement, but Horner's dismissal could create additional uncertainties. Should Russell require alternative options, the entire grid situation caused by Verstappen and Red Bull's decline presents various possibilities. The 2025 season continues generating extraordinary narratives, particularly with Horner's departure after 20 years with Red Bull. Growing belief that Verstappen might join Mercedes follows reports of him and Wolff being spotted with private aircraft in Sardinia. While potentially meaningless, the timing seems significant, given Wolff's stated willingness to pursue even minimal Verstappen acquisition chances. Despite Russell's 2025 race victory and 6 total Mercedes wins, his continuation with the Brackley team through the new regulatory era remains uncertain. Verstappen holds decisive influence as a 4-time world champion representing the grid's most coveted asset. This situation inevitably positions Russell to consider alternative teams. Currently, Red Bull represents the leading candidate should Russell become available, creating a logical driver exchange between Russell and Verstappen. However, circumstances have changed significantly with Horner no longer serving as team principal and CEO. Previous plans Horner may have had for replacing Verstappen with Russell, evidenced by their documented discussions, might have dissolved. While new Red Bull leadership under Laurent Mekies would likely view Russell as a top Verstappen replacement candidate, the narrative differs, with the former AlphaTauri team principal now leading the Austrian team. Rather than seeking external hires to navigate new regulations, Mekies might prefer promoting young drivers like Liam Lawson and Isak Hadjar, initiating a complete rebuilding process. Compared to pairing Russell with one young driver, this approach might not optimize Red Bull's situation, though many criticize Mercedes for promoting Kimi Antonelli too early rather than allowing proper development at Williams. Russell ranks among the grid's finest drivers in both qualifying and race performance. Should Red Bull develop an excellent project with Verstappen departing, the seat might not represent significant downgrading. However, Russell must exercise extreme caution since Red Bull has experienced substantial technical expert departures, including Adrian Newey, Jonathan Wheatley, and Pierre Wache. Russell wouldn't inherit Verstappen's seat with unchanged circumstances, but would enter a team dramatically different from their golden period spanning 2022-2024. This would present Russell with significant challenges while offering opportunities to prove that Mercedes' investment in his development, followed by his dismissal for Verstappen availability, would constitute a costly mistake. The current championship standings show Russell trailing Verstappen by merely 18 points and overtaking him before the summer break, while displacing the Dutchman from the top three could activate Verstappen's exit clause. Paradoxically, this would simultaneously eliminate Russell from the Mercedes seat, potentially creating performance dilemmas. Horner's departure transforms this entire situation's perspective. The former Red Bull leader might have viewed Russell as Verstappen's optimal replacement, which may no longer apply. Clarification should emerge during the upcoming summer break period, when Wolff must make decisive choices regarding pairing Verstappen with Antonelli or Russell's alternative destination selection. Beyond Red Bull, Aston Martin remains a viable option, particularly given their reported interest in Russell as a cornerstone for their 2026 project. Their driver situation presents complications since Fernando Alonso holds a contract for next season but approaches retirement and could face premature departure to accommodate Russell. Lance Stroll's position appears secure given his father's team ownership, making nepotistic factors as influential as when Lawrence entered Formula One. A Russell-Stroll partnership would benefit Russell significantly since Stroll lacks competitive drive, showing minimal interest in Formula One developments and limited improvement ambition. His father's protective environment created this comfortable situation, but it represents positive news for Russell should Newey's project succeed. Engine changes would require Honda adaptation, though this shouldn't pose major difficulties given Silverstone's excellent facilities and Newey's expertise. Comparing Aston Martin's and Red Bull's 2026 potential suggests the Silverstone team offers advantages through Honda's proven engine manufacturing and skilled personnel, including Newey, Andy Cowell, and Enrico Cardiel. Substantial facility investments in Silverstone further support this assessment, making Lawrence Stroll's proposals worth considering. Russell remains a viable Mercedes option despite these scenarios, which only apply if Mercedes chooses Verstappen over Russell. Should they decline, Russell would continue leading the team into 2026. Team sources indicate that recent Verstappen-Mercedes discussions don't guarantee completion. Horner's departure raises questions about Verstappen's potential follow-through, though the most logical outcome involves Verstappen remaining to help elevate the team from their current difficulties. If Verstappen determines that current technical leadership lacks direction, joining Wolff's anticipated project would represent the safest option. Otherwise, Russell would survive recent pressures and prove himself as Mercedes' next champion. He faced pressure to outperform Antonelli once the Italian develops properly, but current developments might eliminate that opportunity as a Mercedes driver. Mercedes manages Russell's career, making team decisions about his future. This creates the paradox of Wolff potentially telling Russell the team would improve without him, necessitating his departure. The upcoming period promises numerous interesting developments, requiring careful observation of Russell's highlighted position. Few situations could be more challenging than Russell's current circumstances. Having survived the Hamilton era and established himself as Mercedes leader, he now faces potential dismissal at his career peak, when Mercedes might finally possess championship-winning machinery due to turmoil completely